All right. Well, hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday morning, December the 31st, and of 2020. It is the last day of the year, and we are praying and wishing and hoping for a happy new year. My son just spilled something over there, so I got my attention because he was like, "Oh, oh." So it distracted me a little bit. Anyway, so good morning, and happy New Year. And you see, my little girl, my youngest, my 12-year-old, painted this for me, made this for me. This is my Miami Dolphin. This is the old logo from when I was a kid. When I was like 12 years old, I would draw every day sometime in school or whatever. So anyway, she made that for me. That's the new logo, which is kind of cool, but I still love the old stuff. Anyway, let me say good morning to everybody. I say, hey, Mom, I love you. Good morning, Mama. You said our last morning manna. It's not our last morning manna. It's our next morning manna. It's not our last one. There's another one tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and we're going to do it again. And it's just the last one of 2020. That's true. But it's just the next one. So good morning. I love you, Mama. Good morning to Steve and to Elizabeth and Philip and Salome and to Jesse. And good morning to Jerry and Janet. Good morning, you guys. And to and we've got Ruti. Happy New Year to you, Ruti, and to Jim and Sarah and Nicole. Good morning, you guys. And we've got, let's see, Pat and Lori. And Lori, we're continuing. No, we're continuing to pray from you. Yeah, see, Mom, you confuse people. See, Lori is here saying, "Is this really the last daily manna? None for 2021?" No, this is not the last one. This is just the next one. It's not the last one. They're going to continue. And good morning, buenos dias to Elva in Mexico City. And let's see here. We've got Ellen and Richard. Good morning to you guys. Hope you're doing well this morning. And to John and Wendy and Emma and Sutton, good morning to you as well. Let's see here. And let's pop over here. Say good morning to Kelly Woods. Good morning to Kelly in Independence. And good morning to Kathleen and to Ron and Amy and to Cher and to Rashawn and Cher. I got you, babe. Yeah, Cher. No, Cheryl. To Rashad and Mignon, good morning to you as well. All right. Let me just double check here. All right. Today we are a lot of times on when we have a 31st of the month, a lot of times I will do in my own personal devotions. That's when I'll hold Psalm 119 for that. We're not doing Psalm 119 today. We're going to look at Psalm 31. We haven't yet in this as we've been going again in the Psalms since October. We've not looked at Psalm 31 again. So that's what we're going to do this morning. Hold on, I clicked something here, and I got things goofed up on my computer. What's that? My son's trying to throw me off here. All right. So Psalm 31. I really like this psalm. I love this psalm. It is it's a psalm that really takes us through. It's more of the journey. It takes us through ups and downs, and so there's kind of, it's not like, okay, it's all the difficulties are behind us and that's the end of it. There's sort of you see sort of the fluctuation and the walking with the Lord and the trusting in the Lord and the calling on God in the midst of all of that. And so we'll open up here at Psalm 31:1. It's a psalm of David. And David says, B'cha Adonai, in you, Adonai, in you I have taken refuge. In you I have sought shelter. You are where I hide. Like this idea of, like, where do you run? in the moments of difficulty? To what do you run? What is that? What is that thing that you fall back upon? And David says, it's in you, Lord, that I seek refuge, that I have taken refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Let me never be disgraced. I'm good because he's expressing his trust in you, and so he's fully relying on the Lord. In your righteousness, deliver me. In your righteousness, he says, it's the word from the word miflat, which is a place of refuge, a place of escape or safety. So he's saying, in your righteousness, in doing what is, because you are right, because what you do is right, bring me to safety. Verse 3, he says, turn your ear to me, or extend to me your ear. Rescue me quickly. Right, so he says, Mehera hatzileni, from the word natsal, which is to snatch away, extricate, pull me out, hurry up. Hurry up. In you I take refuge, but hurry, snatch me out. Be to me, or become to me, hayeli, be to me a rock of refuge. And the word there is letzur maoz. It's like a reversal of maotzur, Yeshuati. And it says, this is letzur maoz. Be to me a siege enclosure. You hold me close when they're coming against me. You're a fortress, a siege enclosure. And he continues, a stronghold, a house of strongholds, in fact. It says, lebet metzudot, a house. Be to me a house of hiding, of strongholds, of fortresses. Like that you are multiplied fortresses. In you I hide. Be to me a rock of refuge, a house of strongholds for my deliverance, to save me, to deliver me, lahoshieni, to rescue me. And of course, when you see hoshieni, that has the word from the root word Yeshua, to save, rescue, deliver. Verse 4. He says, since you are my rock and my fortress, you lead me and guide me for your name's sake. So he says, it says, Ki seli tzatati ata. It says, because my rock and my stronghold, you are. And there's that emphatic you. That nothing else is what I run to. Nothing else is what I stand upon. Nothing else is what I hide in. It's you. Like I've put it all on you, Lord. I've pushed everything that I am into you. I hide in you. I'm trusting in you. He says, and for the sake of your name, you lead me and you guide me. And the word for guide is nahal, is to guide, to help along. And it's a picture that it's even lead me to like a watering hole kind of thing, like a shepherd would lead his sheep to a place where they would be refreshed. For your name's sake, for the sake of who you are. Because wrapped up in the name of God is the fullness of his character. Because he is gracious and compassionate. He's overflowing in love, in chesed. He's overflowing in truth. He's slow to anger, right? And so because of who you are, his foundation of his throne is justice and truth and righteousness. Because of who you are, because of the nature of who you are, you lead me and you guide me. You're being you for your name's sake. Verse 5, he says, free me from the net they hid for me, for you are my refuge. Again, there's this emphatic you. Ki ata, for you are my mountain stronghold. You are my fortress. So all through these early verses, over and over in different ways, the psalmist David is expressing, he's in very physical ways. There's this portrayal of God as a very physical place of safety in the wilderness, in the cave, in the rock of refuge, in the midst of when there's human turmoil, when there's in a siege enclosure, when he would need to be fortified, in whatever circumstance, the Lord is his refuge. The Lord is the one to whom he runs. Verse 6, Biyadcha, in your hand I commit my spirit. Now, of course, we know this passage. Yeshua quotes this on the cross, into your hand I commit my spirit. You have and of course Stephen says the same thing as he's being stoned. And the word for commit, I commit here, is actually a familiar word used in a different way. It's the word pakad, which, when we went through Jeremiah and when we looked at different passages, when it talks about the Lord coming, that he's going to pakad, he has an appointment. There's a commitment. He's going to attend to something. So depending on when God comes to attend to you, the question is, who are you, or where are you in relation to him? If you've been in a place of rebellion against him, of defiance against him, of trusting in others other than him, when he comes to attend to you, that's a word, pakad, that's used as a word for judgment. But here the psalmist is saying, I'm into your hand. I'm attending. I want you to attend to me. In your hand, I give to you my breath, my spirit, my ruach, my life. My life is in your hand. And there's total trust because he's living from a place of trust, living in a place of submission to the Lord. In the midst of everything around, I'm hiding in you. I'm running to you. You are my refuge. You are my strength. And in the world in which we live, in the society in which we live, just the nature of humanity mocks those who run as those being weak, those who hide as those being driven by fear. But there's not a fear. There's a fear of him and a trust in him. I run to the rock that is higher than I. I run to him. I hide in him. And in my weakness, he is strong. What the world demeans as that would make us weak and losers, or whatever it would make us, the Lord, his eyes are on the lowly. His eyes are on those who are afflicted, on those who are bowed down in spirit. And David is trusting in the Lord here. David doesn't feel whether this is a time when he was running from Saul. David is not running to the battle here, right? He runs to the Lord. He runs to the Lord. He runs into the battle when the Lord leads him into the battle, when he fights against Goliath, yeah. But he runs in the power of the Lord, either way. Verse 7, he says, I detest, shana is to hate as an enemy. I hate as an enemy, hashomrim havle shava. The Hashomrim would be the ones preserving, the ones watching or paying careful attention to idols of emptiness, of deceit and fraud. I hate that. I hate what I'm seeing. Those who are putting all of their attention into the empty idols, who are trusting in, paying close attention to. I detest what you detest, Lord. And again, this is not a hatred of people per se, but it's a hatred of those who are of what defines them, of this trusting in that which is empty, that which is false, that which is deceptive. Because I hate that. And then he says on the last part of this verse, with this declaration of trust, va'ani, but I. So there's this emphatic I. But I myself, as for me, though there are those that trust in empty, worthless, vain idols, and even the word for idols has to do with emptiness and deception. They trust in deceptive deception. But as for me, I trust in Adonai. To Adonai is my confidence. Toward Adonai is my trust and my confidence. He makes this declaration. Verse 8, I will be glad and rejoice in your chesed, in your loving kindness, in your covenant faithfulness, because you saw my affliction. And it says your chesed, which saw my affliction. So it's his love. In his love itself is personified as having seen me being lowered and being in a place of brokenness. When you read in Isaiah 61 in the passage that Yeshua quotes from in Luke chapter 4, and he says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach good news to the afflicted, right, and to the poor, but it's the word afflicted. And here it says, your love, your chesed, saw me. It saw my affliction. It saw my poverty. It saw me in my lowly condition. You knew, Yadata, you knew the troubles of my soul, the distresses, the squeezing of my soul. I trust in you. As for me, other people are trusting in empty, worthless idols. They're trusting in emptiness. But for me, it's toward you is where my confidence goes. Toward you is where my trust goes. Because in my affliction, you saw me. Your love, because of your great love, your great covenant loyalty, saw my affliction. And you knew the squeezing I was under. You knew the stress I was under in the depth of my soul. You didn't hand me over to the enemy. You set my feet in a great place, in a wide open place. So you always have this picture often throughout the Psalms of the distress is having to do with a tight place, a narrow place. The word tsar, tsarar, so it can be distresses, troubles, adversaries, those causing stress, those causing trouble. It has to do with being squeezed. And it's contrasted with what the Lord does as he takes us out of that tight place and he puts us in a wide open space. And in a wide open field. And so from bondage into freedom is this picture. You saw me. You saw the squeezing of my soul, but you didn't hand me over to my enemy, to the one hostile to me. Rather, you set my feet in a wide open place in freedom. Now, this would be, you would think, okay, this is where the psalm ends, right? It's not where the psalm ends. So it's victory. You took me out. But now he calls upon the Lord again, and we begin to see another round of struggles. He says, be gracious to me. Chaneni Adonai. Be gracious to me. The word chanen, which is the favor, the graciousness of God. The Lord, merciful, and chanen, gracious, giving favor. Lord, I need your favor. Be gracious to me, Adonai, for I am in distress. Kitzar li, be gracious to me because of my troubles, because of my stresses. My eyes waste away with grief, my soul and my body as well. So the way this is expressed is it says they become weak, they waste away, and here it says grief, but it actually, the word is ka'as, which is to be provoked to anger and irritation. So he's like, I'm wasting away in anger and irritation. There's a trouble, distress coming against him, and he's wasting away. He feels this, he's getting weak. It's sapping him. It's draining him wholly and completely. He can't see. He sees now through this. He says, they become weak, waste away in anger. My eyes, my soul, my belly. Here it says my body, but it's my belly, my eyes, my soul, and my belly. I'm seeing everything through this irritation and anger. The inside of me is becoming consumed with this irritation and anger. It's wasting away. And your belly is often seen as the seat of anger. And so my belly is is I'm filled with this irritation and anger. I'm wasting away from this. It's eating me alive. I am in troubles. I am in a time. Be favorable to me because there's an anger that I'm experiencing that is eating me up. Verse 11, for my life is consumed in sorrow. He says, ki kalu, because it is completed, it's finished, it's consumed in viagon, in sorrow or torment. My life is consumed in torment, and my years in anach, in groaning and sighing. My strength fails because of my anguish. He doesn't use the word anguish here. He uses the word iniquity, avon, twisting. So there's a confession here of, in his own sin, actually, he's calling on for the grace of the Lord, for the graciousness, for the favor of God, because there's an anger within him. Apparently, it may be that this anger, he's not being angry and failing to sin. It is wasting away at this point, and his strength fails because of, he says, brought to ruin in my twisting is my capacity, is my power, is my strength. That's the literal translation. And my bones, and the word for bones is etsem, which can be your body, your skin, yourself. My being, my physical body wastes away. It becomes weak. So there's this total inside and out. There's an anger. There are troubles. There's his own twisting and iniquity. He's wrenched inside. Verse 12. It says, from all my enemies, because of all my adversaries, all my distressors, all those who are the source of my trouble, because of them I have become the contempt of my neighbors. And he's saying I have become a great insult to my co-residents. Those around me are laughing. You can almost imagine that this would have been a psalm that Jeremiah had run to. You know, where he is a laughing stock, and he seems to say these kinds of things. I'm a laughing stock all day long. It says, because of all my enemies, all my troublers, I have become the contempt of my neighbors, and those and a dread to the ones knowing me. Like all the residents, they scoff at me. I'm a reproach to them. But to the ones who know me, I'm a dread to them. They kind of tremble. They don't want to be near me. Seeing me on the street, they flee from me. They see me coming, they're like, turn left, turn right. You see him? You know, and he feels it. He's alone. I really do think, I think I remember at one point when we were going through Jeremiah, there was some stuff that he quoted that may have leaned on this, if I remember correctly. He said, I am as forgotten as a dead man. And literally it says like a dead heart. It says, Kamet lilev, like a dead heart. I'm as forgotten as a dead man. I've become like a broken vessel. For I've heard the whispering of many. I've heard the dibah, the rumor, the hearsay. I know what they're saying about me. They're saying, now this is definitely, we heard this word in Jeremiah, except it was a word that the Lord was sending. Migor misaviv. Terror is all around. I've heard what they're saying. Man, trouble's coming at this guy from every side. I mean, something's, you would almost imagine, because they're talking about David. I hear what they're saying about me, David says. They're saying there's trouble against me on every side, and they're saying that as they conspire against me. It says, in laying a foundation in unity against me, to remove my life with a plot. So it says that they conspire against me and plot to take my life. So now what we see, whether this is a new experience or it's now what the actual issue is after those first eight verses. Now we see what the trouble is, and it's human trouble. It's people. There are things that are being spoken against him. There are things that he's experiencing, and there's an anger that he's experiencing within that he's wasting away. Verse 15, he says, Va'ani, but I but I, he comes back to this, but I, as for me, he says, upon you is my trust. On you is my trust. So the first time he said is, my trust is toward you. And now he says, back in verse 7, he said, my trust is toward you. And now he says, but I, as for me, upon you is my trust. And I said, I declared, you are my God. And again, it's that emphatic, it's you. You are my God. It's this declaration of, I'm going to fix my eyes on you. My trust is in you. You are my God. My times are in your hands. Biyadcha itotai. It says, in your hand is, the word can be a period of time or the right time. So he says, it's in your hands. The timing of everything, what's going on, it's a complete, my times, what you have for the days of my life are in your hands. So again, there's this second time that he's talking about his life being in God's hands. Back in verse, where was it? It says back in verse 6, he said, into your hand I commit my spirit. You redeemed me. Oh, and I forgot this verse, which is kind of this part of the verse, God of truth. Back in verse 7, into your hand I commit my breath. You have redeemed me. You have ransomed me, Adonai, God of truth. Oh, verse 6, I'm sorry. You have ransomed me, God of truth. So he knows that, God, you are a God of truth. And then he continues to say, there are others that are trusting in idols of deception, and I hate that. But for me, I'm going to trust toward you. My trust is toward you. And now again, here down in verse 15, he says, and I have trusted in you. But as for me, upon you I put my trust. And I said, my God, you are. My times are in your hands. Deliver me from the hand of my foes, from those who are pursuing me. The word for pursue is used in this context. It's radaf, which is how it's usually used. Those who are pursuing me to overtake me, they're after me. They're trying to hunt me down, right? What I love is that this is also the word that's used at the back end of Psalm 23 when the Lord said, when David says, without a doubt, surely your goodness, your tov, and your chesed will follow me, will pursue me all the days of my life. But at this moment, he's asking the Lord to deliver him from the hands of those who are in pursuit of him. And here's his request: make your face shine on your servant. Save me in your chesed. Deliver me to victory in your love. Verse 18 again, he asked the Lord, Adonai, let me not be ashamed, for I have called upon you. Let the wicked be ashamed. Let them be silent in Sheol. Let the lying lips be mute. It says, let them be bound and speechless, the lips of deception. Pinch their lips shut, those who speak lies, for they speak arrogantly against the righteous with pride and contempt. Literally it says, let them be bound speechless, the lips of deception, the ones speaking over the righteous, hardened in pride and in contempt. That's literally what it says. Hardened it uses the word atak, which is aged. It's like a hardening from of old. So it's these lips speaking over the righteous, but they're speaking over the righteous in a hardened pride and contempt or mocking. Verse 20, how great is your goodness, which you have stored up for those who fear you. You've set up as a treasure. Your goodness is like a treasure trove, which you have given to those who take refuge in you before the children of men. So where it says before the children of men, the word used for before, usually the word for before would be like, has to do in front of the face of. But this actually is neged, which is to disclose, to reveal. So what's revealed before the sons of humanity, that's what it says, before the children of humanity, of Adam, is that God's goodness is great. How great is your goodness that you have stored up for those who fear you, and you've given to those who take refuge in you, revealed, disclosed before the faces to the children of humanity. That the Lord is making his goodness known. It's again this idea of bless me that I may be a blessing. Let what you do, as you rescue me, as you pull me out, let your name be made great before the children of men. Verse 21, in the shelter of your presence, in the secret place of your presence, you hide them, those who fear you, those who look to you, those who take refuge in you. You hide them from the people's plots, from the people's rakas, which is ties, bindings. So it's all the little things they're tying up, their intrigues. You hide those who fear you, those who take refuge in you. You hide them from these intrigues, from these ties of men. You conceal them in a sukkah from the strife of tongues. So again, this is about words. This is about words matter. Words that are spoken, they have power. And the Lord, and when there are words that are spoken as curses, and they can come against you, and it can affect you, and it can make you sick, and you want to come to your defense. You want to fight for your name or fight for yourself, but the psalmist here is being plotted against, he's being lied about, there's the strife of tongues, there are words that are coming against him, and he hides himself in the Lord. He looks to the Lord. Blessed be Adonai, for he has shown me his wonderful love. It literally says, blessed be Adonai, because of the word pele, which is when we read about in Isaiah 9, wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. That word wonderful has to do with miracles, miraculous wonders, that he is full of wonders, of extraordinary deeds. Right? So that's the word used here. It says, blessed be the Lord because of the extraordinary, miraculous chesed, of his extraordinary, miraculous chesed in a city besieged. I said, verse 23, and I think we can identify with this feeling. He says, va'ani, which he says, but I, you can't see the but in the translation here, but it's there. It says, va'ani, but I, as for me, I had declared in my alarm, in b'chafsi, in my hurry, in my panic. That's kind of, in my hurried, frenzied panic. I declared, I have been cut off from your sight. I've been cut off and from your sight is, I've not been disclosed to you. You can't see me. In his panic, he thought God could no longer see him. But you heard the sound of my pleas. It reminds me of the back end of Isaiah chapter 40, where the Lord says, why do you say, O Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord? Don't you know? Haven't you heard? The Lord, and he continues on to remind them that he is there and that he is watching, that he is faithful to Jacob, that we are to wait on him, to trust him, to wait with assurance that he will come through. Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. It says, I was freaked out. I was panicked. I was like, it's like, I don't know if you remember this old Disney Pixar movie, not Ants, it was Bug's Life, where the leaf drops in front of him, and the ant, it's a leaf, and he goes, I'm lost! I always love that part from the first time I saw it in the preview 20-some years ago. And that's the picture. In my panic, I was like, I'm lost! He can't see me! But I can surely, he says, yes, surely you heard the sound of my pleas, and it's the word for cries for your favor, for your graciousness, when I cried to you. Now David turns to us, and he says, love Adonai. Ochev, love Adonai. All his, here it says kedoshim, but it's chasidim. It's those who are his loved ones. Love Adonai, covenantly loved, faithfully loved ones. Love him. Adonai preserves all the faithful, but the proud he pays back in full. And it uses this language, shalem, and he completes shalom. He makes complete their recompense. Like those who are doing, those that are remaining, who are doing, making exaltations, pride, he takes care of that. He makes everything whole, right? Because he is righteous and he is just, and he'll handle it. It's not for you to handle. It's not for me to handle. It's for him to handle. So trust in him. Love him, all you loved ones. Adonai preserves all the faithful, but the proud he pays back in full. Chazak, be strong. Let your heart take courage, all you who wait for Adonai. Wait on the Lord. It's taking too long? Does it not look like you thought it would look? We see David go through these, whether he's describing the same event from different perspectives or variety of events. Either way it works, because it's not like you face one difficulty and then it's over. You think you've gotten through one. We don't get to a place where we stop trusting in the Lord, where we get to finally trust in ourselves, where we stop calling on the Lord. And so we say, in you. And that's the opening of the psalm, right? It's in you that I seek refuge. And the Lord closes saying, Chazak, let your heart be strong. Take courage. Hang in there. All of you who wait, who hope in the Lord. Amen? All right. Well, let me say good morning to anybody that I may have missed in the opening. Let's see here. Maybe not. All right. Oh, good morning to Dayspring, or good evening to Dayspring. And I know Dayspring is, she writes different. I know she is a writer. She lives in Scotland and writes, and so she's kind of used some of what we talk about here in her writings. And so she mentioned in her writing that she watches this as she's preparing dinner for her family. So good evening as you're preparing dinner for this New Year's Eve for your family, Dayspring. And good morning to Sonia and to Margarita. Good morning to you as well. And good morning to John and Jan. A little late, but I'm going to let it go. Good morning to Charlene. Hey, y'all, to y'all in Texas. I don't know, Charlene, if you talk like that, but I did a Texas accent as I imagined it, because I grew up in Central Florida, which is very south. I grew up in the most southern place you could imagine. Good morning to Carol, and I see when I sang "I Got You, Babe," that of course Cher says that's her husband's ringtone, which of course makes sense. You know when I worked in a store several years ago, anytime when people would hear my name was Cosmo, they would always say Kramer, so I would always get that. Probably not to the same degree that you get "I Got You, Babe" when you introduce yourself as Cher. But all right. Well, let's see here. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to say Happy New Year. I'm going to say good morning and good evening and good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. It's going to be a good year, because it has been a good year. And no matter what, he is faithful. Blessed are all who hide in him. Blessed are all who wait on him. Wait on the Lord. Be strong. Take courage and wait on the Lord. Amen? Amen. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you tomorrow.